Hey folks, MACTFORDEDGE, and it's it's been a while. I had a rough December. Beginning of the month, I was planning on doing this oil report, and then I slipped and fell and broke some ribs, and that took me out for a while. And then, of course, I had to deal with this, a little bit of skin cancer that they're trying to dig out of me. Overall, yeah, I'm glad 2021's over. Hopefully everything is a little bit smoother sailing for 2022. But I am finally getting back and up and doing everything, so I just wanted to cover this oil report on this 2011 Ford Edge 3.5 Duratec with 330,000 miles on it that had a water pump failure. I have here the oil report after the first 3,000 or 4,000 miles of engine run time on an oil, and go ahead and let's go over this. Got to read it a little bit, but hey, we used a Valvoline synthetic 5W20 as the main oil on this. And I will say, I think this is one of the first times that I use Valvoline blue. So it's a whole new oil there. So it's a good used oil report as far as that goes. The miles on it, let's see, 329,281 was when the water pump failed, and then the oil test that was done was at 334,447. So it had a good number of miles on it. And I did have the oil report that I did previously about what it looks like when it fails, and I'll have pieces over here now, yeah, right here. You're going to see those showing up as far as the oil report as I go over this. I'll have them pop up on the screen so you can see them as we go over it. But essentially on this oil change after this 3,000 or 4,000 mile run, we're looking at aluminum at 3, and that is really consistent with all the past oil changes on this 2011 Ford Edge. The chromium was at 0, which is very consistent with past oil changes. So you can see where we're going with this. The iron was at 9, which is again pretty consistent with past oil changes for this engine. So we're right on the money. We did have a copper that was at 10. Now this is not necessarily consistent because the engine has been running between 2 and 6 parts per million copper before the actual failure, and the 6 parts per million was actually during the engine failure. So it is at 10 now. Now, you know, there's some reasons behind this. A lot of new parts were added, so they're all getting worn in. So there can be, some copper that may be elevated on it. But again, this copper is below the universal averages of, what was it they're saying, 15. So that still says good. It was just a change from the norm, so they highlighted that out. Lead was 0 as always. It's always been that way. Tin was at 0. Where in the past we've measured about 1 or 2 parts per million tin, but it was 0 at this point. Molybdenum, that was at 308, so it's a good oil. And then nickel was at 0. Manganese was at 5. Silver was at 0. Titanium was 0. Potassium was at 8. Boron was at 88, and this is more or less the oils. The silicon was at 34. Now the silicon, I can answer why it's higher, because guess what? RTV is essentially silicon. We used silicon throughout the sealing process of the engine, so you got to stop and think, what is it coming from? Could it be dirt, or could it be from engine work? And in this case, we're going to assume it's from engine work, that the silicon's still leaching into the oil a bit, so that elevated amount was higher because the universal average for silicon is essentially, what is it, 17, and when it failed, when the water pump failed, it was at 28. So that ought to tell you some stuff was going on there. with the silicone because the coolant was getting in there and all this other stuff. So yeah, it was definitely having a hard day at that point, but we'll do another oil test to see where it's fallen in line. We fully expect another oil drain and fill will show even better numbers. Sodium was at 3, which is definitely just an oil related thing. Calcium 1488, which is oil related. Magnesium 575, and then of course phosphorus at 740, and zinc was at 939 or something like that. So that's just the oil testing results. What we did find was the SUS viscosity is at 50.9, which is standard for its weight. The CTST viscosity was at 7.54. Standard weight oils, 520 that we're using, so that's to be expected. The flash point was 395, which is not the lowest flash point oil I've ever had in the engine, but you know, it's still decent as far as that goes. There was absolutely no fuel in the oil. Yep, no fuel. So the engine's running good that way. The zero antifreeze, 0% water, and the insolubles was at 0.2, which is across the board the standard for this engine and the filtration system that it's using, whatever oil filter that we were using in that. And then the TBN on the oil, since he didn't run it very long, was at a 4.0, which meant there's a lot of life left in this oil as far as being able to run it further and more miles, because most of my TBNs before that were down in the 1s and 2s. So I run my oils a lot more than the new owner runs it. He changes his oil earlier than I do. But hey, you know, that's his car. He can do what he wants with it. But overall, what did they say? Well, Blackstone said that the engine recently had some water pump issues. It had failed, and the data suggests that those issues were resolved. Extra copper and silicon are often evidence of recent work, and we suspect the work that was done was to correct the water pump issue. If so, we should find nice progress in the next report as wear and material washes out of the engine. It never hurts to check the air filter just in case silicon shows dirt, but if everything is okay, we wouldn't worry too much. The TBN is strong at 4.0 and no water coolant is present. And then check back later for another oil test, another look at Lulubelle, and we'll figure out what's going on from there. But I fully expect better oil test results at that point, so I'm not going to be too worried about it. The engine's running strong, and the oil changes are working, and everything's getting broken in like it should. So overall, hey, successful job rebuilding this engine, and it is just wearing in like you would expect. So hey, I think it's at 340,000 miles now, so we'll eventually get another oil test done here soon, and then once that's done, I'll do a follow-up on that, and that'll probably be it. You know, we'll just let her go and see what happens. But I think Lulubelle's involvement with me and the owner is coming to a close. It is maintained by the owner, and of course Hannah drives it. I have no control over what happens to Lulubelle, how she's driven, what's done, none of that. So and my access to her is dwindling by the day, so that's just the way it is, folks. So Lulubelle's had a good run, and it looks like she's going to run into the future for 500,000 miles. Who knows? We'll just wait and see. I'm sure I'll hear about it if something goes wrong. But other than that, remember, like, subscribe, join MACTFORDEDGE on the MeWe. That's right. Join the MeWe group. And, hey, we got lots of stuff going on there. Great file section that y'all might want to check out. And it is a growing group. And we just want you to participate in it because, hey, you know, a little bit of expression there goes a long ways as far as the group goes. So, other than that, Band of One's always got some great music. Mercy Girl's always got some one-liners. And, hey, I'll catch you on the other side of the house. And remember, both my feet hit the floor in most cases, except for this one, you know, ribs. Yeah, I didn't hit the floor very good. But in the most cases, I'm still able to get up on my feet. So my feet hit the floor today. I'm having a great day. And I want you to have a great day, too.
Thank you for watching MACT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Go production.